We've got to become our number one fan. We got to be our stan. You know, like that Eminem song. We got to become our stan. We got to become that obsessed with ourselves. We got to love ourselves. We got to support ourselves. We got to be our number one supporter. Because if we don't, who else will be? You know, you've got to become that for yourself. You know, not supporting, you know, the wrong habits or, you know, the things you aren't supposed to be doing, but, you know, supporting yourself through those hard times, you know, through those goals that you're chasing. You've got to be your number one fan. You've got to love your work. You know, that thing that you're grinding for, you've got to love it. You got to love it more than anyone else does for you. You got to love it the most. You know, you got to love the content you're posting. You know, you got to become your number one fan. You got to post it everywhere. You're going to have to repost it. You know, you got to just really support yourself, like, because no one else will. You know, you gotta stop comparing yourself to others. And that's what I'm trying to become. I'm trying to become my number one fan. You know, supporting myself like how I support others. You know, that's what we all got to do. We got to start supporting ourselves like how we support others. How you talk to your best friend and how you talk to your friends and your family whenever something bad happens or, you know, something good happens and you're congratulating them, or whenever they're making little steps, that little progress. We've got to become that for ourselves. We got to talk to ourselves like how we talk to our friends. Just like how we're there for them, we got to be there for ourselves. You know, give ourselves the same encouragement and that same, you know, leniency that it's okay, like it's gonna be okay. You know, not being so hard on ourselves. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, you'll be fine. You're gonna live another day. You will see the sun again. You know, it's gonna rise again. It is fine that you didn't do that today. We got tomorrow. You know, we gotta just be there for ourselves. And of course, you know, still be hard on ourselves. You know, but not too hard to the point where we're just exhausted, you know, to where we're just mentally just gone, just out of it. You know, just finding that balance, which is, it's not easy. It is not easy at all. I mean, there's times where, like, I'm so hard on myself. I'm like, dang, bro, like, is this really life? Like, there's no way this is life. I've got to change it up. Like, this just can't be it. So it's just, you know, finding that balance, you know, and just still loving yourself through it. You know, being your number one fan. You know, whenever you watch that streamer, you know, support that artist. Support them like how you support yourself. Say that same thing to yourself. Whenever you repost, you know, what they're doing, repost what you're doing. You gotta be your number one fan. You gotta love your work the most. You know, you gotta support it the most out of everyone. Just really become in love with it. Really in love with, you know, that progress that you're making. Just always, you know, giving yourself that pat on the back, you know? That pat, you remember back in school whenever, you know, we would, come on, you gotta do that for yourself sometimes. Like, hey, I did that. You know, like, I ate it all. That's what you gotta do for yourself. Just really loving yourself. You know, not comparing yourself to others. You know, comparing yourself to, like, your own self. Like, wow, like, there are times where I could even do like a 10-minute workout. Now look at me, I'm doing 20-minute workouts. You know, like, seeing how far you came in your journey, not comparing your journey to someone else's, because it's going to be different every single time. So looking at your journey, you know, wow, I just ran a mile in 7 minutes. There were times when I couldn't run a mile in 10 minutes. You know, so just comparing your own journey to yourself and realizing that progress that you've made, not comparing it to others. It will, you know, it will widen your eyes. It's like, wow, like, I really made it. Like, I really got it out the dirt, you know, like, I got it out the mud. Like, I really came a long way. Just being your number one fan, just because you came a long way, just because you got that job where you got that car, you know, and who cares if it's not the most expensive or the best or, you know, whatever, but you know how far you came. You You know how far you came, so you got to be your number one fan. You know, not comparing it to anybody else's. Just really, you know, showing love to yourself. You know, you might not be where you want to be at or where you dream to be at, but look how far you came. You know, you will get there. Look at how far you came already. You know, just keep doing it and keep putting in that work. You know, loving yourself through that time. You know, through that, you know, whenever you're going on that down spiral, you know, still loving yourself and supporting yourself, saying, I know I'm down right now, but I'm going to be up. Being, even if that's a little bit delusional, be delusional. That's fine. We're all delusional. Trust me. I'm delusional. I know I'm delusional. If it's relationships or, you know, no matter what it is, I be delusional for sure. I be telling myself I could get ready 5 minutes before work. It don't work. I'm going to be late every single time. It do not work. But, you know, just being delusional. You know, just being, you got to be your number one fan though. Because no one else will. And at the end of the day, you're by yourself. You know, who you look at in the mirror, that's all you got. So you've got to be there for yourself. You got to support yourself the most. You know, just always supporting yourself no matter what. Being your number one fan. I love y'all. I hope you have a blessed day, and thank you.